Welcome to the Fifth Inning Podcast, where we talk about hot topics in youth baseball. I'm your host, Hunter Vansau, alongside my co-host, Chris Scarcella.
Man, co-host of a podcast, that's pretty sweet, man. Let me tell you something. I'm pumped, excited.
Me too. I could not be more fired up to do this.
Well, Hunter, tell us about yourself, man. Tell the audience about you and your baseball background, and let's get started, man.
Yeah, well, for those of you that don't know who I am, obviously I'm Hunter Vansau. I had a pretty crazy journey in college baseball. Played at 3 different schools. Out of high school, went to Dallas Baptist University. Then shortly after, went to Northeast Texas Community College. Hashtag JUCO Bandit. And after a semester there, went to Mississippi State University, where I played 2 years. And then transferred for my 5th year as a grad, transferred back to Dallas Baptist University. So I've had quite a journey that's kind of led me to this point. I've had so many amazing coaches, amazing trainers, amazing strength coaches, and amazing teammates too that I've picked things up from, learned from, and obviously that helped me develop my knowledge of baseball to this point to where I'm at right now. Not saying that, I know everything, but I definitely am still learning every single day and kind of soaking things up like a sponge. But yeah, that's a little short intro to me. I guess in other things, I'm a married man, and I work for a recruiting company outside of this. So
and a College World Series berth in there.
Hey, yeah, that's true. We did go to the big dance and lost to Adley Rushman in the Beavers.
Oh,
we don't like them.
Yeah, they ended up taking it home that year, right?
So. Yeah, they sure did. Yep. Well, Chris, obviously that's a little bit about me. Tell me a little about you.
So I grew up in Leak City, Texas, so not too far from here, just south of Houston. Went to Clear Creek High School, and out of high school was fortunate enough to go play at Texas A&M. Played there for 3 seasons.
Hail State.
Gig 'em. And played there under 2 Big 12 championship teams in 98, 99. Went to the College World Series in 1999. I started my freshman year in 98 against Mississippi State, and they crushed me a little bit.
How'd that go?
Yeah,
let's go.
They beat us. They beat us in the regional finals in the old format to go to the World Series. So not too happy about that still 25 years later, but hey.
It was the same story whenever I played against A&M too. We beat the dog out of them.
Hey, how about the Mags last year though,
Yeah, let's not talk about last year.
But after 2000, I decided my junior year, I got drafted and decided to go play in the Oakland A's organization played there for a few years before they told me I was done. And yeah, I'm back home, back in Friendswood, in the Friendswood area with 3 awesome children and a beautiful wife there. So
that's awesome, man. Well, I guess, kind of starting things off, how hard did you throw?
I threw Ched a long time ago.
Yeah. How about now?
There is, I still can hit 90. There's no doubt.
No shot. Guys, to give you guys a little perspective, we have a youth baseball organization down here. We have about 19 coaches with either college or professional experience, and we were doing tryouts earlier last or at the end of last year, and we all had we had a gun out, and we were all just seeing what we can top out at. I topped out unfortunately at 85 miles an hour, I believe.
I think you got 85.
85, and Chris was too scared. To come out and throw. So he talks this big game, but then he comes out here and, he doesn't put his money where his mouth is. That's for sure.
It was a little chilly out there. I didn't want to hurt my arm.
All right.
But we did have one coach. Should we remain nameless?
Oh, no, we got to throw him under the bus.
Yeah, Jared Velasco. When you're listening to this, you only threw 89.
Yep, 89.9. Just could not muster up the courage to get up to 90. Just absolutely devastating.
Oh, he'll never live it down either. Never.
Well, Chris, I guess let's open it up. Like, why are we doing this?
we started Texas Force, and ultimately wanted to give back, as this game has taught us a lot, as we talked about, and taught us a lot. We want to pass that back on to the kids, whether it's baseball knowledge, but ultimately teaching life lessons through the game of baseball. And I think it's important in perspective in the youth game today, and youth baseball is, we got to teach them to be leaders and be accountable, be good teammates. And in the select world, the way it's made up, or the club world, the way it's made up, it's very individualistic. And I think there's a different perspective that needs to take place. They need to focus on team. There's no I in team. All of those cliches. Ultimately, those are going to help them become better human beings in the long run, right?
Yeah, but so. I also feel like, I want to also impact some parents that are making some huge decisions on, should my kid be throwing 200 pitches in a weekend, or should I be going to a strength coach, or things like that, right? Like, I feel like those are just such big deals, and not a whole lot of people either take them seriously, or they just jump into things and don't realize what they're doing. I just feel like there's so much light that needs to be shed on just youth baseball in general, and that's really what I'm really psyched and excited to be able to share, our knowledge of the game, as well as, speak with some other people and individuals that have come from our past and helped us get to this point.
Yeah, I agree. This just the awareness there, and helping people make, kind of understand what it's going to take ultimately to get there. So
yeah, well, I guess segueing into our next thing, just to give a little bit of light on like Chris and I's relationship. So we both work with a youth baseball organization here in Southeast Houston called the Texas Force. And to give a little perspective, back in 2021, I believe, I got this random phone call. This man cold called me off of LinkedIn. I get a phone call saying, hey man, I saw your number on LinkedIn, and wanted to give you a call to see if you'd be interested in coaching a youth baseball organization here in Southeast Houston. And I was like, man, like, you couldn't have called it a better time. Like, I'm looking for something to do. I have this job, but obviously, like, I want something that gets me involved in baseball to help share my knowledge. And, I would love to do that. Well, that conversation obviously transgressed into, well, I don't have a team for you yet. I don't know what this is going to look like. We don't even have an organization. I've got one team it's my son's team. But I really have a couple people interested in, like, maybe a 9U team, but I don't know. And I'm just like,
and I don't know where we're going to practice.
So in my head, I'm like, all right, this is going absolutely nowhere. There's no shot. Like, who is this man? And I get off the phone, talk with my wife, and I'm telling her about this conversation. She's just like, yeah, that sounds sketchy. Like, you should definitely, like, put up your blinder, take off your blinders, and make sure that this is legit. And it could not have been a better thing that happened in my life, and a blessing that's happened in my life. Going to Legends, to go talk in more detail with you about this and about this idea. And so since 2020, this is obviously, it's blown up, right? And it's only been 2.5 short years, and now we've got 14 teams.
12 teams, 144 players as part of the organization. So
that's insane.
It is insane.
And across 27 different area codes, right? Or zip codes.
27 cities in Southeast Houston, with 19 coaches that all played college baseball.
Jeez. I mean, like, obviously I'm just a coach in all this, and like getting to see that is like such a huge, like, it's crazy. Like, I know this is kind of like, we're looking back on this, but like to visualize where we're at right now to where we were. I mean, guys, we were literally like scrounging facilities, scrounging places to just like go and practice, and we would practice on like youth football fields sometimes, and it would rain, and we would spend, hundreds of dollars just to go hit at, local cages. And and now we've got this 4-acre plot of land with, 2 baseball fields, some batting cages, and, we've got all this stuff going on for us right now.
It's crazy. It's crazy to look back and see see where we've come from, see what we have now, and then I'm stoked about this upcoming spring season and the next couple of years, because it's only going to continue to grow and improve those facilities, and we're kind of just getting into a stride right now. So
Yeah.
which is why we wanted to start this podcast and ultimately get help parents, help kids learn more about the game. So
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's such a big deal because, I mean, we've got so many things that factor into why should I make this decision to go to this organization? Why should I make this decision to even go into club baseball? Or, I mean, I think there's 1,000 different questions that could come out of like just the topic of youth baseball in general. And I also feel like there's not to throw any, shade at anybody, but I definitely think there's some out there opinions and who knows, maybe you guys might think our opinions are out there, but this is just our own personal perspective on, things that we've gathered and come across in our everyday life in baseball, and not just youth baseball, but in professional, college, like all the way down. This is just our experience. So I hope you guys are excited for the journey to take along with us and, see what we've got in store.
Yeah, I think one of the cool things that you play at Mississippi State and DBU, me at A&M. We'll have John Cheshik play, who was one of our captains when I was at A&M. He'll be a guest on the show a few times, and I think the amount of baseball people that we're going to be able to bring to this podcast and ultimately the knowledge is going to be fantastic as we look forward over the next 10 episodes or so. I mean, there's not a lot of people in this area that are going to be able to get the guests that we will on the show.
Agreed. I mean, obviously, like we've got quite a bit of people that we've worked with that are, in professional baseball, college baseball, influenced in youth baseball, there's a bunch of facets of people that have just been plugged into our lives here and there. But yeah, I'm excited to bring them along too, and obviously shed some light on some topics that, we've got prepared for you guys. Now, I guess one thing I kind of just want to, change up and give us a curveball to this topic or conversation. So, Chris, I think recently, if I'm not mistaken, the Force kind of got this pretty prestigious acceptance, if you want to shed some light on that.
Yeah, we're really pumped, and it goes back to the amount of influence or reach that we have established over a couple of years. Our 10U group was fortunate enough to be accepted and invited into the USA Baseball 10U Futures Invitational. So,
wow.
And when I say USA Baseball, that's Team USA, and they invite 16 10U teams in the nation to come to Cary, North Carolina, which is the home of Team USA, and participate in a weekend long tournament. Ultimately, part of the goal for USA Baseball is to identify kids that they can invite to the 12U national team trials. Yeah. And so it's a huge honor, huge deal. Couldn't be more excited about taking these boys and going and playing over there.
So you're telling me there's only 16 teams in the United States that have gotten this privilege?
That's correct, yeah. 16 teams. Yep. It's amazing. And I think last year, I haven't seen the full list for who's invited this year, but last year they only had 3 teams in the entire state of Texas. And so
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's ask the question that everyone's thinking. How the heck did the Texas Force get put in with those 16 teams?
Yeah, it goes into the relationships, right, and the baseball backgrounds that we all have. And so John Cheshik, I got to give him a lot of credit. He played on the USA Baseball collegiate team and Team USA back in 98, 99.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
pretty good plug there.
Yeah, exactly. I don't, so the relationship helped us get in, and we had a conversation. They loved, but I think ultimately that opened up a conversation.
Yeah.
And Shesh and I had a hour long vetting call with them. They really dug what we were about, what our organization was doing, what we had done in a short amount of time, and our values aligned exactly with what they were looking for. And not to mention, we're doing pretty good. So
Yeah.
that
I'd say
ultimately
so.
all that stuff. Yeah.
Well, I guess just to shed a little bit of light too, I mean, just from my perspective as being like a coach with our organization, like, I mean, I know I was one of the first coaches that Chris reached out to be a part of this organization, but I've also been involved in some of the hiring for some of these coaches.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think it's very important from like, you know, head of organization, maybe you're looking to start an organization of your own, wherever you're at. But being super intentional of like the questions that you're asking and seeing the real reason as to why these coaches are wanting to participate. Is it just to collect a paycheck, or is it actually to make a difference in someone's life? And I feel like for me, like that's obviously the huge piece that I want to play a big factor in helping these kids not only learn the game of baseball, but become better young men.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a key piece, right? Because, you know, there are so many different organizations or teams out there. I'm going to say organizations. They're teams out there. I mean, there's 700 in Houston alone, right? And I think understanding what each one is about, and they can be about different things, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Because every parent wants something different.
Yeah.
So I think the team, the organization is transparent with what they want, and the parents can make the decision as to what's best for ultimately their child, right?
Yeah.
So I think being transparent with those kind of things. Some teams want to go out there and win at all costs, right? They'll carry a nine-year-old roster of 16, and they're going to play the best 9 or 10, and that's okay for the parents that want that. That's not what we're going to do, but that's for some people. So I think being upfront with who we are is.
I think in different facets of youth baseball, there's different, you know, ways that you can go about it, right?
Yeah.
I think, you know, obviously you've got different, like you've got Little League, you've got, you know, Pony League and stuff like that, where it's like, you know, maybe it might be something where your son hasn't played baseball before and you really want him to get his feet wet and enjoy the game that maybe you loved as a child. Or maybe he's been doing that and now you're seeing this major gap of his performance versus his peers, and now you want the next thing, and maybe that is club baseball, maybe that's something else, right? But you know, we're just here to kind of talk about things that come along the way, to help you make these decisions of, you know, that come up. And although we're not, you know, what we say isn't biblical or anything like that, it's not Bible.
It's gold though.
It is definitely coming from not just us, but people that we've talked with and obviously studied up on throughout this journey.
Yeah, I mean, you know, everything from, you know, I anticipate, like, you know, being able to talk about the rec versus select and the state of youth baseball, where it's come from. I think that's going to be interesting topics. You know,
yeah, me too. I'm excited for it.
building a team. You know, team culture.
Yeah,
those things are fun, right? Those things are great to talk about. And then of course we get into the actual baseball aspect, which, you know, approach. You know, obviously you have a lot to say about hitting approach and things like that. So maybe that's where we get into the hot takes.
Kinetic chain, baby. Kinetic chain, launch angle. Let me just give all the buzzwords right now.
Yeah, there we go.
Jeez. Well, Chris, I couldn't be more excited to take this journey with you. And as far as like our expectations for this podcast, guys, like this is just us having fun. So if you ever have any topics you want us to cover, feel free to reach out to us at our Texas Force accounts or social media platforms. And obviously we'd love to answer questions or have topics or, you know, come across anything that our audience wants us to cover. So I could not be more excited for this journey. Could not be more excited for the ability to share, you know, some of the stuff that we've learned along the way. But, you know, just shedding some light into our next episode. We're going to be talking about the difference between rec and club baseball. And then obviously, as we mentioned earlier, we're going to be bringing on John Sheshik, former team captain for the Texas A&M Aggies.
And Hall of
Famer. So don't miss that one. And thank you for listening to the Fifth Inning Podcast. I'm your host, Hunter Vansau, alongside my co-host, Chris Scarcella. And please like and subscribe to all platforms. We're going to be on Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube. So anything helps. So please like and subscribe.
All right.